Merry Christmas.
Boom, we're live.
Ho, ho, ho.
We got approximately 0 people. No,
starting off strong.
No.
Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to all of our viewers over here in, everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, everywhere.
If you're listening in America, we're about 4 hours out from Christmas, so we're wishing everybody season's greetings.
Yeah. Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Day. I just want to point out,
Yeah. Should we go like this?
What the frig is that? $1 hats, bro. $1 hats.
I think it's sweet. I think it's
like
awesome.
I fucking love it.
Comment what you're doing for Christmas. Comment if you're able to go out and do anything, or if you're like us and you're just gonna be hanging around with your household. No more than 5 people.
I'm sick and tired of this, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well,
Casino tomorrow, though. I'm
going
to the casino. I go every Christmas at night.
I didn't even know it was open back up.
Yeah, it is.
That's what's up. Well, Unfortunately for us, there's several weeks before our next UFC fight night, so we don't have really anything to go to the casino for. But we
blackjack.
We do have some. I have some casino bets to cash in. So
yeah, you do from
right.
A while ago.
From weeks and weeks ago. So thank you everybody for joining us. MMA Complete, Zak Drapeau, Austin Garvey, coming to you live Christmas Eve 2020.
Definitely getting a little. I'm definitely getting buzzed this Christmas, dude. It's been a hell of a year.
Oh, dude, my beers are upstairs. I were just not prepared.
Where's my, you want one?
I will take one.
I'll give you a platinum, bro. I'll give you a platinum.
Appreciate that. I'll grab my beers soon enough from upstairs.
So we got the fight of the year, knockout of the year.
Mm-hmm. We can talk about submission of the year, but there wasn't really any good submissions this year.
Dude, I think it just happened. That guy that went into the head kick, I wish I knew his name. He was losing the fight. And he went into that triangle. That was sick. It was sick to watch.
I didn't get to catch that.
It was dope.
If you want to check out the one he's talking about, go check out our live stream from last Saturday. That would have been December 19th?
Yeah.
December 19th. The fight night between Stephen Thompson and Gary Neal is what we're talking about. That's what we live streamed. And, I mean, probably
we only live streamed the last 3 fights, though. So
probably the best fight night of the year.
Yeah.
Damn near top 3, if not number 1.
Thompson, that was a good fight.
That was a great fight. And there was just so many names on the card.
Yeah.
Got Rob Font knocking out Marlon Moraes early. You had Greg Hardy getting knocked out, stopping his 2020.
I was actually trying to set up the live stream when he was getting knocked out, so I missed everything.
It's funny you say that. So Jared Tillinghast and Todd Chattel, shout out to them, other podcasters at SFBNRI.
Possible.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be doing a group pod with them at some point like that.
New Year's.
But Todd Chattel knows Rob Font.
Oh.
And Rob was actually going to be on their podcast last week. So
that's pretty dope.
Now that he got a win, who knows? We might be able to see them either on this podcast, probably on theirs. So go check out their podcast.
That's pretty dope.
Combat 101 and We Rise podcast, hosted by Todd Chattel, Jared Tillinghast. But without further ado, let's just get right into it. So you talked about the superlatives of the year, which is mainly what this is going to be about, since we don't really have any fight nights happening for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Although,
we could talk about. Dude.
Oh, well, absolutely, be talking about it.
Well, we could talk for hours. But.
Right. So, do you want to just get the next couple fights out of the way, and then we can talk about the fighter?
Let's go right into the fight of the years and stuff.
All right.
Talking about that.
So,
take your notes out.
So we're.
Oh, do you have notes?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So we're basing this off of. I mean, we watch just about every
single one. It's just so many fights, right? Plus a lot of shit going on.
I think since the end of May, we've watched every single fight night in the UFC card. And obviously, there wasn't any fight nights between March and May because of the outbreak of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Before that, though, there was a lot of good action, including the fight of the year. The fight of the year,
which happened just before the COVID, right?
I believe it was a month before. It was the last pay-per-view before COVID.
Yeah.
So, UFC 248, which was headlined by Israel Adesanya and Yoel Romero, which was a snooze fest of a main event, by the way. The worst main event of the year. Well, I mean,
dude, Dana White was pissed.
I mean, Adesanya is... I'm getting warm. I'm going to take this off. Adesanya is... He's a gate seller. You know what I mean? So he's going to be able to hype up any fight. But
Romero did not press on him.
Yoel Romero didn't press, and Adesanya didn't get out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
In the co-main event of that fight, we had the women's strawweight championship between the champion Weili Zhang and the challenger Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Joanna Jędrzejczyk has been a challenger, has been a top fighter in that division and also the women's bantamweight division for several years.
Yeah.
So Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk was fight of the year, both by UFC. I also agree with that. There was a couple others, especially in the back half, but that fight was so crazy. I talked to you about it a little bit, how it was back and forth the whole time. We had both women getting dropped. Weili Zhang almost got choked out at the end of the third, and then it stopped. The bell rang. Yeah. So it's such back and forth action.
And if you don't know what fight we're talking about, huge egg on the head.
Right.
Egg on the head.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk has a famous meme where she had on the egg right above her right eye, and it was probably the size of this mouse. So it was huge.
Huge. I think it was bigger than that. It was literally. It looked like she was mega mind.
Right. I can't remember if it was a split decision or unanimous decision in favor of Weili Zhang, but either way, it was like 48-46, 48-47. It was as close as you can get, and it was a spectacular match. Quite possibly, I know we're talking about fight of the year. There's been a lot of great fights this year, and that's the best one. Quite possibly the best women's UFC fight ever. Ever. So that's really saying something. Hats off to both of them. We'll be looking to see. Ever.
Debatable.
It is debatable, but
a championship fight.
I certainly can't think of any fights that come to mind that have
Nunes, Cyborg.
Yeah, but that was a good fight, but that was a 2-round fight, and it wasn't.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'll give you that.
It wasn't competitive.
Yeah.
Nunes beat the shit out of Cyborg. Who, by the way, Chris Cyborg announced today was the Bellator Fighter of the Year.
Really?
Yeah, she was 2-0 in Bellator this year. I believe she's the women's bantamweight, or she might be the women's featherweight championship.
Dana White fucking hates her. They have a fucking mean thing for each other, dude. They hate each other.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling that Dana White hates a lot of people that know their worth.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? If they're not a sell like Connor and they know their worth. I was just
about to say Connor.
Right. Yeah, because Cyborg, rightfully so, wants like $500,000 a fight.
Yeah.
Because she deserves it. She's been a multiple champion inside and outside of the UFC.
A lot of main events.
She's a pretty big draw. I mean, she's not a draw like Nunes and Shevchenko, but Cyborg is right up there. And before Nunes, she was the biggest draw. Yeah. Maybe besides Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey.
Oh, yeah.
So
Miesha Tate,
she was never a champion, though. You know, Chris Cyborg dominated people until she ran into Nunes.
Wasn't she champ and then Holly Holm beat her?
Cyborg?
Miesha Tate, no?
No, Ronda Rousey was champ, and then Holly Holm beat her. And then Amanda Nunes beat Holly Holm.
No one's ever going to beat her, dude.
No.
Nobody.
I don't think that we'll ever really see any competition for Nunes.
No.
At least in the women's division.
No.
Henry Cejudo?
Dude. Don't even get me started, bro. That fight needs to happen.
All right,
Henry Cejudo, Amanda Nunes, or Amanda Nunes, Jake Paul.
Yeah, but that will never happen.
Jake Paul is way too much on the line, bro.
So,
way too much on the line.
For fight of the year, that one is... It's funny because up until 2-3 weeks ago, that was a clear consensus fight of the year. Nothing really came close. Until we had Brandon Moreno versus Davison Figueiredo.
What fight are you talking about?
The Jędrzejczyk.
Okay, yeah.
That was clearly the fight of the year until Moreno-Figueiredo, which it still wasn't able to edge it out, possibly because it only happened 2 weeks ago.
That's
and
what
no
I
one
was
really
just
got
thinking.
enough time to really digest it.
That was a great fight.
That was a tremendous fight.
Oh, I was so happy I got to watch that.
Quite possibly, listen, if Davison Figueiredo didn't kick Brandon Moreno right in the nuts as hard as he did, it might be the fight of the year.
He was coughing.
It might be the fight of the year if that didn't happen. But even then,
knocked him a point.
Moreno's ability
caused the draw.
Moreno's ability to come back in the fourth round, right after that kick and win the fourth round, also just adds to the legacy of that fight. So those are 1 and 2.
The fifth round?
Figueiredo did.
Was it?
Yeah, barely.
I'd love to watch that fight again.
Yeah, well, we can after if you want. I have you on ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
you can watch all of them.
Possibly.
So that was the top 2 fights of the year, and really, there's a significant drop after that. Number 3 was John Jones versus Dominic Reyes, which happened in February. That was John Jones' closest fight to date.
Yeah.
Dominic Reyes was the closest person beating John Jones probably since Alexander Gustafsson.
Yeah.
Back in 2013.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. That's why it's number 3, because the guy almost lost, and controversy that he should have lost,
Right.
but he won the championship rounds.
Right.
Championship fighters win the championship rounds.
Exactly.
But
that third round is one of the most highly contested rounds.
Dude, you have to beat the champ in order to beat the champ.
Absolutely, especially with a guy like John Jones.
Figueiredo was supposed to win that fight. That wasn't supposed to be a draw.
Yeah, I know.
He got docked the point, dude.
Right.
So that just goes to show how much
it does.
It proves to be you have to beat the champion to beat the champ.
It's definitely a rule. It's definitely something that judges keep in mind. I'm not sure if I completely agree with the rule.
It's an unwritten rule. It's an unwritten rule.
Because at the same time, if you go back and you watch that John Jones-Dominic Reyes fight, Reyes wins the first 3 rounds, in my opinion. Third round's
and you have a biased opinion
to John Jones.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a huge John Jones fan. Dominic Reyes clearly wins rounds 1 and 2, and he probably wins round 3. John Jones clearly wins 4 and 5. So it's really just the round 3.
Yeah.
And then you get that in the judges' heads, and you're like, oh, can we give Reyes the title in the first loss of John Jones' career because he might have won 1 round?
No, you can't.
But at the same time, like, if that's the case, then is John Jones ever going to get a loss? You know, I would love to see John Jones go undefeated, but at the same time, when someone beats him on the judge's scorecard, like, they need to make that call. And they need to say, yeah, he lost. And in my opinion, they could have said that with Dominic
Only
Reyes.
way he loses is in heavyweight. Only way he loses.
Well, yeah, because who knows if he's ever going to step down from heavyweight.
Dude, Nagano,
who knows if he's ever going to get a fight in heavyweight.
Nagano could just go in there and do, like you just said, 15 seconds. Just one of them needs to hit.
If you don't know what he's talking about, Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik at UFC 251 or 2. Francis Ngannou in the first 15 seconds threw like 4 or 5 overhands, landed with 1, knocked him out right away. So your argument is if Francis Ngannou can land on John Jones could go to sleep right away.
Before John Jones takes him to the ground, because after he does that,
it's
fucking over.
It's a big thing.
It's fucking over.
If Ngannou throws those wild overhands, if John Jones can duck just 1, he's going to take him down right away.
Yeah, where he kicks him in the fucking heart, dude, and brings him back. I don't know. It's crazy.
It's a great match.
But it's like, it's fantastic.
And you gotta also realize that not only does Jones have the incredible wrestling advantage, but he has the speed advantage like a motherfucker.
240.
And I would argue the toughness advantage, you know? Like,
dude, that's why he's going to beat Stipe, dude, because...
Well, Stipe's another question. I get that John Jones is one of the GOATs, but Stipe, in my money, pound for pound, might be the toughest guy in the UFC.
Dude, I 100% agree. But
like, you have other guys, like Tony's up there. He's tough as nails. I know he just lost, but, like, to go 5 rounds with Gaethje getting the beating he took, he's tough as shit.
Yeah.
You have guys like Khabib.
Yeah.
You have your guys in each division, but Stipe went 12 rounds with 11 rounds with Daniel Cormier. Took like 78 significant shots to the head and he got knocked out the first time, but then came back and fought 2 beautiful fights. He's tough. He's beaten Overeem. He's beaten Ngannou before. Yeah. He's beaten all these heavy guys that were
that's shots. What I mean. You're in the toughest division, dude. He's in the toughest division.
Quite possibly. And he stands alone in that division. Just because
of the power and the strikes. Like,
he stands alone in that division, too.
Yeah.
Like, there is no... Like, John Jones...
Because of his wrestling, though. That's why I think John Jones can beat him.
Well, John Jones probably is the most complete fighter in the UFC, I would argue. Like, there's really no holes in his game.
Yeah.
You know, you have people that are going to contest him for that title. Cheers. Merry Christmas. But, like, I would say the 2 most complete fighters in the UFC are John Jones and Stipe Miocic. You know? John Jones, I would argue, the weakest facet of his game honestly,
that might be the most cleverest thing you said on this pod.
you're gonna
Both the most complete fighters. I agree.
I really think that they are. I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting some people.
Yeah.
Like, you have
Big guys.
you got like
big.
Kamaru Usman, who's up there too. He's 100. You have, like, I would say that Khabib is not a complete fighter. Khabib is probably the best wrestler the UFC's ever seen, but he's not a great striker. He's good. He's really good, and he's tough, but he's not a great striker.
Yeah.
You have guys like, I'll give you another one. George St. Pierre is one of the most complete fighters I've ever seen in the UFC. If I were to talk about of all time, I might put GSP at. I would put him in that top 3.
Yeah.
Stipe's up there too.
Yeah.
So like when you have that, then when you have the completeness, then you start to look at physical attributes. Then you start to look at who's going to be stronger, Stipe or John Jones. John Jones looks fucking ripped. He looks like he's gained so much strength, but at the same time, that's what Stipe has been his whole career.
Yeah,
Stipe's been 6'4", 240 the whole time. John Jones is going to come, if they were to fight, if they were to lock up, John Jones is coming in with a 4-inch reach advantage. That's really the only advantage that you can really give him, besides like the experience factor. Yeah. And Stipe doesn't really get any advantage other than the fact that I don't know if John Jones can knock out Stipe. I think Stipe could knock out John Jones. I don't think John Jones can knock out Stipe.
I don't think
unless he gets like a spinning elbow, catches him off guard.
I think he can TKO him. I think he can ground and pound him.
I do too. But like as far as just a one-hit knockout, it'd have to be an elbow.
John Jones has never been on the ground with someone that big and as strong too. Nope. So
John Jones is at the same time he has, because he's fought DC twice.
True.
DC is every bit of a wrestler as Stipe.
Yeah.
I don't know about strength.
And Stipe still beat DC.
Right. Twice. You're looking at 2 guys who have beaten Daniel Cormier twice. And those are Daniel Cormier's only 4 losses in his entire career.
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah. It goes to show you.
That's a great 4-loss. That's a great record, dude.
It goes to show you that DC's a little underrated.
He is underrated. He's underrated as fuck.
He is an all-time great, man. He's
Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer.
He's fought, I think, 3 fights in heavyweight. And they're all with Stipe. And he's literally like a top 10 heavyweight just from that.
We need to start looking for autographs and shit like that.
Yeah, 2 new additions to the pod if anybody's looking. We got Mike Tyson right here with Don King.
Ooh. Legend of the game.
We got a Connor.
Complete legend.
Just trying to spruce some shit up.
Sooner is going to be light stuff. That shit's sick.
Yeah, so for fight of the year, those were the top 3. The third was...
We got way sidetracked.
John Jones versus Dominic Reyes. The 4th fight, and the only other fight UFC had listed for contention of fight of the year, was Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker. That was a main event in, I believe, April or May. No. That was June. Because obviously April was Corona. And that was a 5-round fight, and it went the distance. Poirier's first fight back since the Khabib fight, and he looked stellar. Dan Hooker did well, but Dustin Poirier took over in the 4th and 5th round. That was a great fight to check out, too. So that's it for fight of the year. Fight of the year was Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk at UFC 248. Rightfully so. A lot of contention, a lot of great fights this year, but that was the best. Mm-hmm. Next. You want to go into KO of the year? Actually, let's get submission out of the way because we're not going to talk about submission too much. So,
did we already do submission?
Well, you talked about that fine guy. So, the UFC has listed Brian Kelleher defeated O'Day Osborne by a rear naked choke as the submission of the year. That happened at UFC 250.
250.
Wow. Not much note. It was kind of crazy. He didn't wrap his legs. He got behind him, and his back was to the cage, but he trapped his left arm under his leg and then got him from a rear naked, and he was literally like crouching and getting a rear naked, and the guy just couldn't move, and he just tapped verbally. Couldn't even move his other arm.
Wow.
So it was kind of cool. I mean,
Well,
there wasn't too many like
so
there
he just
wasn't
controlled
any.
his arm. He
Right.
basically like did what he wanted to do.
There wasn't any like twisters, or there wasn't any like
Yeah.
crazy omniplatas, any like
Yeah.
really high level jiu-jitsu shit
Yeah.
that happened this year.
Yeah. Well, my argument is the one that just happened, which I talked about before. So, third ever in the UFC. A standing triangle to the back. I mean, I'd give that more than that, but it is what it is.
I would have to see it, but I mean, it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
For
not.
sure.
It's not as crazy. It's just the fact that he knew what to do if he caught his leg. It was just instinct. Like he's
It was
like,
like
fuck.
Buckley's
Yeah.
spinning kick.
Yeah,
Where
instinct.
he
Instinct.
as soon as you get caught, you find a way to get out of it and you finish it like that.
Yeah.
It's one of the most. It's countering. It's one of the best counters.
Yeah.
Which is a great segue. We can go right into knockout of the year. Knockout of the year. There's no competition.
None.
There was several great knockouts.
Kanye made a fucking song about it.
There was several. Did he really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I'll show you it after this.
There was several great
the baby.
knockouts that happened this year, but Joaquin Buckley over Casagne.
Whatever. Who cares?
Joaquin
Guy
Buckley
fucking died.
spinning head kick knockout.
Muay Thai
wins
kick.
knockout of the year. It was just a spinning head kick. It wasn't.
It's a Muay
Thai.
It's a Muay. He is Muay Thai.
Okay.
He does train.
So Joaquin Buckley threw a left leg kick to Casagne's front right leg. Casagne was standing like this with his left arm back. Joaquin Buckley was standing like this with his right arm back. Casagne went for a left leg kick. It got caught. Casagne caught it. And then in one swoop,
swooping.
It was really a jumping, spinning head kick.
Yeah.
In one swoop, Joaquin Buckley jumped with his right leg, spun, and kicked Casagne right in the jaw. Right flesh in the jaw. And if you go and look at that knockout again, if you go and look at that knockout again, as soon as his foot lands, you can see Casagne just immediately, like, his eyes roll back.
Oh, yeah, he was
and
knocked
he's standing for a half a second and then just falls right back. But as soon as he gets hit with that kick, knockout, lights out.
It was like something out of a fucking movie, bro. Like, you see that shit in like Avengers or something. Like Captain America does that.
It was picture perfect technique.
Picture perfect.
Super precise, devastating, strong.
No one saw it coming.
Nobody.
No one.
And it elicited one of the best responses out of Joe Anik we've heard all year.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he saw it, he said, "That's got to be knockout of the year."
Yeah.
When in that super high pitched voice he does.
Yeah, dude, it was insane, and I give Joaquin Buckley credit, dude, just because it takes guts to even attempt it.
Not only, I mean, at that point, I don't know if it's guts. I think it's just instinct. Because there was half a second, maybe less, between when he got his leg kick caught and him going for the spinning kick.
You don't train for that shit. You don't go. You don't. Right. That's a gift. It's a fucking present.
It was. I mean, if he hadn't trained that exact move, it makes it even more impressive. Because if you train that, some people, if they go for interior leg kicks, they can train what happens when you get caught, and you can either that's how you train your scrambles and stuff. That's how you train takedown defense. You can try to balance on one foot, but he didn't give a shit about balancing. He just said, "I'm going for the knockout." He fucking got it.
It was insane.
It was stellar.
All right. Now this is where. All right, go ahead.
So number 2 for UFC and for me for knockout of the year was Cody Garbrandt's last second knockout.
Agree.
A right hook at 4 minutes 59 seconds of the second round. So to set this point up, Sun Tzu threw a right hook. Cody Garbrandt moved back. He swayed back. And then Sun Tzu's right arm is forward.
Oh.
And so to keep himself moving, he brings his arm back, but he moves his head to the right side as he does it. And Garbrandt just fucking tees off on him. Just one shot. It is one of the loudest punches you ever hear in the UFC. And split second right before the second round ends probably makes it a little bit better of a highlight.
Yeah.
But it was a picture-perfect right hook knockout.
Yeah.
And it was against Rafael Sun Tzu, who is a champion in his own ranks and has been a veteran. So Cody Garbrandt takes one of the best knockouts of the year as well. Yeah. And here's where we get into the big ones. Or not the big ones. Here's where we get into the contested ones. Obviously, there's no real ranking system for the knockouts of the year for 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's kind of just, it's just on us, really. Number 3 knockout of the year, judged by the UFC, just happened, and it is Kevin Holland knocking out Jacare Souza with a right hook while Kevin Holland was on his back.
No way.
So first of all, let's get
way.
this out of the way. It was a great knockout, and we had not seen it coming.
Yeah, I fucking loved it.
It was
I
amazing.
Love the knockout, and I respect the knockout.
And I think you'd probably agree with me that it's not that we don't think it was a good enough knockout to be 3. It's just that there's one other knockout that we think should be at 3, and this one should be at 4.
Yeah.
Right. So the knockout we feel probably should be at 3 was Sean O'Malley's walk-off.
Sean O'Malley's walk-off is more impressive. I know. Do you think it's because it wasn't against like a known guy? It was against
Eddie Wineland, who's known.
That's what yeah, you know what I mean?
He's definitely in the latter half of his career, but he's known. It was a beautiful combination.
It's the hype.
Faked a right, faked a left, and then came over with the right.
I think it's the hype. I think it's the hype that he brings to the fights, and it's like he did that, and he walked off.
Yeah, he just walked off as soon as it happened.
And it's like, and he's just like, like what the fuck? Like, is that it? Like, respect. And and that fight needs to happen between Marlon Vera and him because Vera just lost.
Yep. Yeah, that
needs to happen again.
That's going to be a terrific.
But if he loses, that fucks up his career. So I honestly don't want to. I don't want to see him fight Vera right away.
I feel like, there's definitely an argument for that. I don't know if I want to see him fight right away, but at the same time, I want to see it happen. So if it does happen right away, I'm ready for it.
Oh, I'm ready. That should be a main event for fight night. That should be a main event for fight night, or co-main event for.
It could be a main event for a fight night.
In the main card for.
It could be a main event for a fight night, but I don't know if either of them are going to be ranked.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't want to do that, but it's hyped enough. Sean O'Malley could fight you, and it would be a main event at a UFC fight night. He's that hyped. You know what I mean?
I'd beat his fucking ass.
Make cool $20K doing it?
Nah, I'd fucking... Bro, you know how scared I'd be? This motherfucker's 6'2". I'd be like, yo, you look so much
6'2", tatted with rainbow cornrows.
Yo, I don't even know. I'd literally try and take him to the ground, man.
Yeah, 100%. I would try to beat up his leg.
I don't give a fuck about his legs.
I'd beat up his leg, yeah.
I don't care about his fucking... I'd break him. Nah, I love you.
So...
Smokes mad weed.
So, besides that...
And sponsored by him.
Finishing out the top 5 of the knockout of the year, we have Francis Ngannou's knockout of Jairzinho Rozenstruik, which we already talked about a little bit. Nothing too special. Ngannou's just powerful as shit. You know Francis Ngannou has the hardest recorded punch ever, right? Ever.
Does he?
Of anybody of all time, in any place, in anywhere in the world.
That's why he needs to fight John Jones.
It was something like 38,000 decibels of force. Yeah. It was like a Mack truck running into you going 52 miles an hour, some shit like that.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to God, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't believe that.
It sounds ridiculous, but it's the same force generated.
Wow. Damn, bro, these people must have such bad brain damage, man.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You look at a guy like Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
Who, by the way...
Joe Rogan's living the life, dude. Like, he doesn't even have to fight. He just talks about it and loves it.
Who, by the way, this is another good transition. If you're down, we can take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back to talk about the fighter of the year.
Okay, yeah. Fill me in. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break for all zero of you watching. You're watching MMA Complete Podcast with Zak Drapeau and Austin Garvey, being brought to you by SFBNRI. Check out all SFBNRI platforms: YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook.
Talk about your new...
we're going to be having a lot of articles being sent out. I'm going to be trying to keep track of that for SFBNRI. Yeah. SFBNRI is all sports platforms: baseball, football, hockey, MMA, tennis, fucking swimming, anything. So
swimming.
We're going to be... We have a couple swimming articles. I swear to God, Ryan Lochte. We just did one like 2 weeks ago. You know who Ryan Lochte is?
Who is that?
He's a former Olympic swimmer for the U.S.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
We had a bunch of new content coming to you, whether podcasts or articles. Go check out sfbnri.com to see all of it all together. You can check out all of our 20-plus podcast hosts and 20-plus shows. We're actually starting a new branch of the company called Food Junkies, where we're going to be branching out into food. Ron Robert, the head of SFBNRI, has already been doing his own Roadie Takeout Report, where he goes to different restaurants in Rhode Island and checks out all their food. But we're now having a whole new channel, just like SFBNRI, that it's going to be dedicated just to food reports and different recipe shows and all that stuff. You can check out multiple podcast hosts, including Ron Robert himself. We have another former Rhode Island food critic for the Board of Health, Ron Kaplan. We have a couple other people, Chris Carbone, all those guys. So make sure you go show them some love at Food Junkies, and we will be right back to talk about Fighter of the Year.
Nice.
If I can get this to play.
Yeah, respect, and we're back.
And we're back. We're live. We're going to be talking about Fighter of the Year. This is the last segment we have for our superlatives that are, I thought we were pretty good. You know, we took a lot of it off of UFC.com and who they thought, but we've been watching every fight night and pay-per-view since May, so we know what we're talking about. So for Fighter of the Year, we're going to go backwards because we got 5 names here, and we're going to start from a controversial 5th. This one is just my own.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to who the UFC thought and who I also believe, and I think you might also agree, is the Fighter of the Year.
Yeah.
So coming in number 5, he is 1-1 on the year. The only fighter we're going to talk about that has a loss this year, and that is Justin Gaethje.
Respect.
So Justin Gaethje kind of blew up in 2019.
Yeah.
He had his fight against Poirier. He lost. He had his fight against...
Which the UFC is getting really good at blowing up people.
Right.
Like, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And it has to do a lot with their fighting styles. And I would argue that Justin Gaethje has the best fighting style to watch. Because that's purposely what he does. He goes out there to put a fight on for the fans.
Yeah. Most
performance bonuses in UFC
history, yeah.
And it's not an accident. You know, he goes for the knockout in the highlight reel. Exactly. There's a reason he's the highlight reel. That's his nickname.
Yeah.
So,
for real.
Justin Gaethje 1-1 on the year. He defeated Tony Ferguson at UFC 249 in May in what is, I would say, the biggest
short notice
snub.
too, right?
No, the first one was short notice, and then it got canceled, and then the second one was a couple weeks out. So I would say that Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson is the biggest snub of the Fight of the Year rankings. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a closely contended fight at all.
No.
But it was a captivating fight, and it was a great fight, and everybody who watched it was stunned and had a good time watching it. And then Gaethje obviously had an interim championship run where he ran into Khabib Nurmagomedov, and their huge explosion of a fight that was super well marketed, our best show to date, and that happened at UFC 254. Yeah. And it wasn't a great fight. People can argue that Gaethje won the first round. I'm not too sure about that, but the second round, either way, it was over. Yeah. So, I mean, he didn't have a great of year as far as winning everything and putting his name at the top of his ranking of his certain division, weight class, whatever. Yeah. But he had 2 main event fights, and they were 2 great fights, and they were 2 highly publicized fights. Yeah. And in a time, he was the first pay-per-view back from COVID. He was the first main event after COVID. 249 was the first one. There was no fight nights before the COVID and 249. So it had to be a huge pay-per-view, and he fucking delivered, man. If you want to talk about, we're talking about Fight of the Year, Knockout, Sub of the Year, whatever. Yeah, if you want to talk about best effort in a single fight in a year, I would say that Gaethje's effort into beating Ferguson was the best of any. I don't know how to really phrase that, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying.
He had one of the best game plans. He had one of the most dominant
game plans. I say Tony Ferguson went in there on half notice. He went in, and Tony just came off a rough cut, right? Mm-hmm. So
he cut weight for the first fight, even though he didn't have to. But that was on his own.
It was on his own accord, agree. And no wrestling in that fight, which I think is a fucking mistake for Tony Ferguson.
Absolutely.
A big mistake. But I think that sets up a second fight. It really does. It really, really does. I think Charles Oliveira beats Gaethje. I think he does.
I want to save this talk. I want to save this lightweight talk because we can talk about this for 20 minutes.
I know.
All right. So that's number 5 for me.
Number-
That's my own personal entry into the fighter of the year.
Yeah, mine. Agree.
Yeah. So give me, the
Blow
top
up.
4. Who else would you put in that top 5?
Kamaev, just because of dominance.
Kamaev. Okay.
Just because of dominance.
It's a great shout out. I mean, it was his year to rise.
Dominance because of the way, how many punches he's taken and how many he's delivered. I know they're against no-namers, but he's kind of a no-namer. He hasn't really fought anybody, so he's proven himself in a way. And yeah, that's really the reason. I think dominance.
I mean, 3-0 is a better record than everybody except for one person on this list.
And yeah, exactly. So that's mine.
Right.
That's mine. And I put Gaethje 6 or 7 because I would put like one of the, I would have to look at like girl fighters and shit and see what they've done this year. That's a good point.
You got like
you got fight of the year.
Right, but those 2 women only fought once this year.
Okay,
and that's the reason.
And that's why I would like to look into it.
Right, because you have someone like Jermaine Durandamy who won 2 fights this year. You have someone like Cynthia Calvillo who won 2 fights this year. That's a good shout out. There is a couple women that definitely deserve to be in contention. I know there's
a Japanese fighter out there that
Jinan.
I think so.
Chinese.
I think so. That fought this year a couple times and won and dominated and is ranked. So, I would definitely look into that.
Rose had a great victory. She has some contention, but only just the one.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to number 4.
It's hard to give fighter of the year when you've gotten one fight this year.
So number 4 and number 3, I have different than the UFC. What I have here, number 4, UFC gave number 3. Yeah. And number 3, UFC gave number 4.
Yeah.
So would you agree with that, or would you change that up?
I agree with that. Okay. I agree with that because I think Kevin Holland got snubbed a little bit.
Okay. So at number 4, we have the new light heavyweight champion in the UFC, Jan Blachowicz.
Jan Blachowicz, Polish power, bit
one
overrated.
Of the best, a great kickboxer, and he's 37 years old.
Yeah,
and he's still at the top of his game, which is crazy.
Ain't knocking him for that. Bit overrated though.
Absolutely, and I think he's
about to get his ass beaten up by Adesanya too.
I think that his win over,
if that happens.
I think his win over Dominic Reyes was just shocking because Dominic Reyes was the closest person to beat John Jones. So everybody expected him to beat Blachowicz, and then Blachowicz came in and he knocked him out.
Dude, Dominic Reyes looked like a deer in the headlights facing him. He didn't know what to do. I don't know. How don't you go into that fight with confidence?
I have no idea.
You just went 5 rounds with John Jones, and
if Reyes had won against Blachowicz, we'd be saying his name probably in the top 5 fighters.
That's what I mean. And Dominic Reyes had a great year. Great year other than that fight. You know what I mean?
Well, he only had the one other fight where he barely lost to John Jones.
That's
a great year.
It's a great year, dude.
It's a great year.
He should. A lot of people saying he should have won. So, yeah, Blachowicz 4. Yeah.
I agree with you.
And the UFC has him 3rd. So
the UFC has him 3rd because he also beat Corey Anderson.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson's top 5 in the light heavyweight division. He knocked out Corey Anderson, so he has 2 knockout victories.
Knockout victories, and
which
2
is
guys
huge
in the
against
top 5.
2. Right.
Agreed.
So.
Should be number 3 maybe, and I think I'm feeling your vibe. I think you're putting him number 3 now.
No, I think I would keep him at 4, but I can totally appreciate that I may have some recency bias.
Okay.
For this guy, number 3.
Okay.
So for number 3, we have Kevin Holland coming in as the number 3 fighter of the year. Yeah. Kevin Holland with a 5-for-5 win rate in 2020 in the UFC. Broke out in the UFC. I believe he only had 2 fights in the UFC last year, in which he went 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's had a tremendous year in which he's beaten Joaquin Buckley, Ronaldo Souza.
Joaquin Buckley's hype though, and we called that out. But okay.
But then again, Joaquin Buckley came out and he beat someone else just a couple weeks ago.
We're gonna see them fight in the future. I
think you're right.
Okay.
Although Kevin Holland is probably gonna get.
Kamaev, dude, that would be such a sick fight.
I think he's gonna get higher ranked people than Kamaev.
Is it bad if I? All right, I know Leon Edwards. All right, we're getting off track.
So Kevin Holland, only the 4th fighter ever to win 5 fights in UFC in a single calendar year.
Yeah.
He had a tremendous knockout that the UFC has at
Who
number
are we talking
3.
about?
Kevin Holland.
Okay, yeah.
That UFC has at number 3 for knockout of the year off his back against Jacare Souza.
Disagree with that, but
nonetheless, it was a
we
tremendous
talked about
knockout.
it, disagree though.
I mean, the middleweight division is his for the taking.
Yeah.
Right now, especially if Adesanya decides to go to light heavyweight.
Is it for the taking?
That division's stacked with killers, man.
I know.
Stacked
I
with
wouldn't
killers.
say it's for the taking. I wouldn't say it's for the taking.
But he's young. He's confident as shit. Evident by him dancing to the fucking ring the whole time. And he has an 84-inch reach.
I know. We've been saying that he's the John Jones of that division because of his reach. Because John Jones' reach is insane.
Right.
No, I agree.
So, I mean...
Like, we're usually not
is he hype?
Page.
Probably.
Yeah.
Did he beat 3 not great people for his first 3 wins? Yes.
Did he knock a guy off his fucking ass? Yeah, he did. He did. But it's not top 3 of the year.
It's not definite.
That's a Dana White hype factor.
It definitely is.
And that pisses people off seeing that in the UFC. They're like, what the fuck?
But
like,
then
this guy?
But then again, 5 wins in 12 months is 5 wins. You know, that's really impressive. No matter how you cut it.
He should be number 2. He should be number 2.
I kind of agree with you.
He should be number 2.
Number 2 is probably the biggest point of contention I have with this whole list. I'm not knocking the man himself, but neither of his fights were blockbusters.
Yeah.
They were publicized. The number 2 fighter of the year, as ranked by UFC and grudgingly myself and Austin, is Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
Israel Adesanya had quite possibly the worst main event in UFC history at UFC 248.
He still gets second?
He still gets second. Now, is he probably the hottest name in the UFC right now? Yes. I would think he probably is. Besides Conor. But that's just because
Gaethje?
Conor's another level. I would say Adesanya's hotter than Gaethje.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm just looking at what Dana White said. That it broke records, that fight. Gaethje Khabib, like, way more records.
Yeah, but that's more of Khabib than Gaethje. You know, when Adesanya fights, it's because of Adesanya's name.
And it was the style fight.
Right, of course.
Maybe.
Right.
You know, but...
But Adesanya he's brash, and he's undefeated, and he's amazing, and he talks shit, and he's cool, and he's a good guy.
Watches anime, which everyone loves. I don't know why.
But he knocks people the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he's skinny, but he still has power. And so he's this huge enigma. And these dream matches
That's
of
a word.
This 6'4" skinny dude fighting these 6 foot yoked up powerhouses dominated his storyline for 2020. So he fights Yoel Romero, who is now no longer in the UFC, sad to see.
Awful fight. Paulo Costa fight, hyped up. Paulo Costa had no chance.
He had no chance.
No chance. That's all a hype fight. And
he got dropped in the second round, and that was it. Adesanya humped him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, like, fighter of the year, number 2.
But then again, 2-0. 2-0 in championship fights. 2-0 against
top-ranked guys. Top-ranked guys.
No, there's no quotation marks.
No, top-ranked.
They're top-ranked.
No, top-ranked, and I'm just saying that because I don't believe in the rankings anymore. We've talked about this on previous podcasts. Check them out.
It's a great argument because rankings,
they don't fucking matter.
They
do matter to a certain extent. Like Paulo Costa, maybe.
No, Paulo Costa
top
deserved
5,
the number 1 contender.
Maybe top 5.
He deserved the number 1 contender.
Maybe top 5 guy in that division, but nowhere near the caliber of what people are telling him to be.
Well, that just goes to show you how Adesanya is the best in that division, man. Because you have like 3 people in that division. You have, well, I was going to say Jack Hermanson, but he's not top 5 anymore. So it's really just 2. You have Adesanya. You have Robert Whittaker.
And you think that guy that beat Jack Hermanson deserves it? No. Absolutely not.
I don't know if he deserves it, but he's going to get a shot. Not at the title, but he's going to get a shot to prove himself.
I know.
You know what? I would love to see that fight run back. I think that would be a great fight to run back.
Yeah. All right. Before we get off topic, number 1.
Number 1 fighter of the year, 2020. I totally agree. I completely agree. It's pretty unanimous for me. Deiveson Figueiredo. Deiveson Figueiredo, 3-0-1 in the UFC in the year of 2020.
And the only reason why he lost is because
he didn't lose. He drew.
No, yeah, true. And the only reason why he drew is because of a cup.
Because he got a point deducted for a fucking
bad
for a punt
and 2 eye pokes, which he got
Right.
warnings for. So that
He only got 1 warning for.
1 warning.
And it wasn't even I'll deduct a point. It was just I saw that eye poke, keep it clean.
Yeah. So I agree.
I completely agree. Davison Figueiredo choked out Joseph Benavidez twice. He then beat Alex Perez by a guillotine choke in under a minute and a half. And then 21 days later, headlined another pay-per-view. First fighter ever to headline 2 pay-per-views in a row.
Sick as a motherfucker.
And he goes 5 rounds with another killer, Brandon Moreno, who deserves respect in this list. I don't know why he wasn't. He went 2-0-1 this year. Probably because the flyweight division isn't as stacked as it is. But Davison Figueiredo single-handedly brought back the flyweight division.
Damn. Yeah. Can you have 2 guys in the division? 2 guys in the same division in the top 5 fight of the year?
I wouldn't say top 5 fight of the year just because he didn't. I don't know if he's beaten. Like, he beat Brandon Royval 3 weeks ago. I think if he
fights Figueiredo again, Figueiredo's going to beat his fucking ass.
I do too. I really do.
And I would be shocked if he doesn't. And you know those numbers are going to be close, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know I'm betting my fucking... I think that's a bet the deed fight.
I don't see...
I think that's a bet the deed.
I think Figueiredo's like minus 160.
Yeah, like as soon as that fight drops, we got to go. Like, for real.
So now that we're done with the superlatives, those are all the superlatives. If you missed anybody joining in, comment, and you can ask us what we thought of the superlatives. We can say it again for you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Ho, ho, ho. So, Figueiredo in the flyweight division. You have a couple people that are challengers. Number 1, Brandon Moreno. You have Alex Perez, who's probably going to get another shot because he is really good. He just got caught early against Figueiredo. You have Brandon Royval. And you also have Ben Carafrance, who we haven't seen fight, hasn't fought in a little bit, but he's another killer in that division.
This is a division that's getting stacked quick. And it's like once 2 guys' names get big, it's like, wow, those 3 are big that faced them previously. It's like the division's getting stacked like quick.
It is stacked, but at the same time, it's not.
I wouldn't say stacked competition-wise. Like, there's good competition.
Like, the top 5 is good. It's not great. It's good. And the rest of that division's not.
Yeah.
You have guys like Joseph Benavidez, who are great fighters, but they're just not championship caliber. You know, Joseph Benavidez has the record for most title shots in the UFC while never winning one of them. 6.
Wow.
You know, so
you
have
Tony
guys,
Ferguson can't even get 1 with 12 wins in a row.
So you have guys.
So crazy.
Well, that's the divisions that they're in. You know, Benavidez gets like 2 wins and he's automatically number 1 contender because of that division. Whereas Tony needs like 12 because the lightweight division is so stacked.
Does he need 12?
Probably not, but you know, circumstances. Look at what happened.
You know how pissed...
Yeah, well, Tony never knocked people out and talked shit to them. You know, that's what caught Connor his fights. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's a goddamn shame, though.
So I want to talk about the lightweight division because it ties in pretty perfectly with what I want to do after that, which is talk about the rest of the fights that are going to happen in January.
Yeah.
And then after that, we can end this because we're 48.
Yeah.
Unless we want to go until Christmas.
One thing I do want to say is there was a fight last week. A guy in heavyweight. I don't know if he fought Greg Hardy or not. He cut 39 pounds.
Yeah.
39 pounds. That is insane.
Here's the thing. That's not too uncommon.
No, like people are mind blown when this shit.
If you think about it, to drop 39 pounds, heavyweight's max weight is 265. So that means that
I don't know if it was heavyweight though. That's my problem. It was insane.
If it wasn't heavyweight, then that would be a fucking ridiculous story.
Yeah, no,
you see things like that.
It's definitely heavyweight.
The most I'd heard about was Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar cut 38 pounds to fight Frank Mir. So this might be like the most ever because 30, obviously. 39 pounds to a guy in heavyweight means that they're actually weighing in at 304, walking around, not cutting weight. Yeah. So if you think about it, 304 and you're dropping 39 pounds, that's like 11% of your body weight. Whereas if you look at bantamweights and you look at the worst weight cut ever, which is TJ Dillashaw. TJ Dillashaw weighed in a fight at 135. He dropped 22 pounds to do it. And it was like, or no, it was like 27 pounds because it was like 26% of his body weight.
Wow. Damn.
You know? 39 pounds is fucking crazy.
He's also hype. He's also popping.
TJ? Oh, yeah. No, he's
You know
he's
what I
on
mean?
drugs and everything like that.
Yeah.
How would you feel about a Figueiredo-Dillashaw fight? Or
It's fucking windy.
Or even Figueiredo-Garbrandt. Because I think if Figueiredo
Cody
beats
Garbrandt needs to fight TJ Dillashaw. I don't care.
I think Cody Garbrandt wants a title fight or a number one contender fight, and I don't think TJ Dillashaw's getting one.
No, and that fight proves it.
What do you mean?
That fight proves if Cody Garbrandt deserves it or not, because he's lost to him twice. It proves that he's gotten better, and that
I don't think Cody Garbrandt will ever fight TJ Dillashaw again, just because Dillashaw got popped, and now Cody Garbrandt's thinking, "Oh, you beat me twice, and you were on shit, both of them. I'm not fucking fighting you. Like, why the fuck would I fight you again? If you had to take shit to beat me, I wouldn't ever get in the ring with you again. You don't deserve to be in the same ring as me."
he don't deserve to fight again.
He doesn't.
That's what
Which is why TJ Dillashaw should fight someone like Cheeto Vera. I don't want to see him fight Sean O'Malley, and Dana White doesn't either, because TJ Dillashaw will probably fuck Sean
him
O'Malley.
up, bro. He would fuck him up. He has a long way to come. Seriously.
And I mean, he's only 25, so he has...
That's what I mean. He's got 5 years.
Right.
You know
he has
what I mean?
like 9 years.
No,
He
he's
really
got 5
wanted
years.
to.
He's got 5 years. And Dana White's not cutting him because he's got a following. He has an established following in the UFC,
Absolutely.
and he hasn't even been on a fucking pay-per-view. If you think about it.
Who? Sean O'Malley?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was the co-main event at UFC 252.
Was he really?
Yeah, his fight against Cheeto Vera was the co-main event.
Wow.
Of Miocic Cormier 3.
Really? Wow. It shows you how much I know.
So, let's get into the lightweight division.
Yeah.
We've talked about
Co-main
this.
event, huh? How long has he been in the UFC?
2.5 years.
That's right. He fucking got injured.
Yeah.
Come back to me.
Yeah.
Curly hair.
So the lightweight division, I'm putting this down, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. It's bad. It looks like...
The lightweight division is something that we just can't talk enough about, because this shit just... You never know what's the fuck's gonna happen, man.
January 23rd.
January 23rd, Conor McGregor fights Dustin Poirier. I saw something
Kamaya
today.
fights Edwards.
I saw something today. I'm going to get into those.
Okay. Yeah.
I saw something today that says people are calling for Charles Oliveira to fight the winner of McGregor-Poirier right away for the title.
Yeah.
Completely shutting out Justin Gaethje. How do you feel about that?
How I feel about that, it's bullshit.
I completely agree.
It's bullshit. You want to know why? Dana White is praying to God
that Conor McGregor wins.
Yeah, that Conor McGregor wins. But he could all... Yeah, he's praying to God that Conor McGregor wins, because that keeps him in the UFC unless he runs away. Because he wants to go fight in boxing in 2021. He's talked about this.
Conor versus Jake Paul?
No. That other guy that he fucked up in training. That lightweight, I don't know either. But he used to be a champ. How I feel about that? I think
any lightweight title runs through Justin Gaethje. That's what I think.
It definitely pisses Justin Gaethje off. And Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor is a great fight.
It's an amazing fight. If Conor wins, Conor should fight Gaethje.
It solidifies him.
Conor wins. Conor versus Gaethje. I will speak
if Conor beats Gaethje, it solidifies Conor as a great striker.
Absolutely.
Well, he is a great.
Right.
He's a fantastic striker. One of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he is. No, he is.
Debatable.
UFC, he absolutely is one of the greatest strikers ever.
Debatable. I'm not knocking him. Debatable, and I definitely would give him the benefit of the doubt. Definitely the benefit of the doubt.
Let me ask you this.
He needs to fight some big fucking names.
Let me ask you this. If we're talking not right now.
Because this is what we've talked about, though. Conor McGregor not fighting big names. Mm-hmm. And especially not in their prime like he is now.
No, he kind of did. Conor beat a lot of people in their primes in his initial run.
Who?
Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, Eddie Wineland.
I'd say Poirier's in his prime now, dude. He has way more experience. It's 2013.
You're probably right, but at the same time, the same can be said about Conor.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Conor's like 30 now.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Experience is key in the UFC.
Right. Conor came into the UFC at the same time all these guys did. Guys like Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Who is, before Volkanovski, Conor McGregor is Max Holloway's last loss.
Look at Max Holloway now. What do you like?
Right. He is one of the best in the fucking world. Bullshit loss is the only reason he's not champ.
Yeah.
You look at guys like Dustin Poirier. You look at guys like Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo was in his prime, and Conor McGregor dethroned him.
Yeah, but wouldn't you like to see that fight again? Wouldn't you like to see what would Conor McGregor do in 2 rounds with him, not 9 seconds?
Yeah, but
anybody would.
But at the same, like past that prime.
Yeah,
Jose Aldo's 37.
I can see Conor McGregor bumping up the bantamweight.
Well, he would go down.
First of all, no, not down. I didn't see him going up in a division.
To welterweight. That's what he fought Cerrone at. That's what I think he's most comfortable at.
I think so too. Why he doesn't have to cut anything?
But I think welterweight. I think Conor gets fucked up at welterweight. I think that lightweight is his division, because you have guys in the welterweight like Jorge Masvidal, Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman. Guys that would
Kamaru Usman. He ain't being Kamaru Usman.
I don't know. Literally. I'm trying to think. I can't name you anybody that I think could be Kamaru Usman.
I love to see
Colby's the closest.
I love to see Nick Diaz, Kamaru Usman. I'm not gonna lie.
No, Kamaru Usman.
Nate Diaz.
I think that would be a great fight too, but I think Kamaru Usman.
Oh, he'd fuck him up, but Nate would definitely put up a fight.
He absolutely would. He would rock. All right, so lightweight. We talk about these hypothetical matchups all the time. Here's what I'm at now.
Okay. Change it might. I would love to go back on the pod and see what we talk about week to week.
Right.
See if it changes.
Charles Oliveira, I think, needs one more win for a title shot.
Future champ.
Probably.
Future champ.
Charles Oliveira.
I think he beats Conor.
Charles Oliveira should fight Dan Hooker.
Yeah, which definitely goes against everything I probably just said because I forgot about him. But Charles Oliveira, no-namer. He's already a no-namer.
He's not a no-namer.
Not a lot of people know. You asked anybody. Charles Oliveira.
Well, when you say you asked, when you say you asked anybody, are you talking to an MMA fan? Are you talking to like some other kid from Tiverton?
I'm talking about a guy that just watches the UFC when big names fight. Like a fan of the MMA.
No, he probably is unknown.
He is unknown, and I think he's really fucking good. He
hasn't lost in 6 years.
He is really fucking
He's one of the
good.
best grapplers in that division.
He just put a clinic on Tony.
He made Tony look like nobody.
And Charles Oliveira should fight Gaethje. Winner of that fights Conor for the title.
I disagree. I think Charles Oliveira should fight either Dan Hooker or Michael Chandler. And the winner of Poirier McGregor fights Gaethje.
Problem is, if he fights Chandler, Charles Oliveira is falling into the same hole that Tony's falling in. He's just going to keep beating guys, dude, and not get a title shot? Like, come on.
Well, I mean, at this point, Oliveira is number 3 ranked in the division.
And I agree with you because I think Dana White, that's the champion that Dana White doesn't want.
Oliveira, I agree with you. But then again, you could have said the same shit about Khabib. Because Khabib didn't speak great English, and he was a boring wrestler. And that's what Oliveira is. The only difference is Oliveira's not undefeated.
It's because he's from Russia, too.
Russia, Brazil.
That gives him... No, I know, but that definitely... It's like Russia.
It's an interest factor, sure.
Yeah.
But, like, you look at the big differences.
Khabib has good trash talk.
Khabib has good trash talk. I would say Oliveira might have better trash talk.
Let's fight now. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Right.
That's Khabib. And he doesn't talk shit in the press conference. He talks shit in the ring.
Yeah.
In the ring. Like let's talk now. Right. Like, that's what he's saying. And he's beating the fuck out of Conor McGregor.
And Khabib talks a little bit of English, and Oliveira doesn't.
Yeah. And I think Khabib's English, the broken up that it is, makes it fucking sell.
All right, so January 23rd, Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor at UFC 257. Make sure you tune into our podcast, MMA Complete,
Why we're
for that
doing
live
it?
stream. Oh yeah, we're doing it.
Hey, we should put my Twitter on there.
All right. What's your Twitter?
No, I'm joking.
Okay.
I'm joking. Not now.
So that fight is going to start off 2021 first of all. Not technically, because there's 2 other fights of which we will get to in a second. But that's going to really set the tone for 2021, and it's going to really set the tone for the lightweight division. And then once that fight happens, we can probably tell what's going to happen. You know, if Poirier wins, I think Oliveira gets the title shot. If McGregor wins, McGregor gets the title shot.
What do you mean? I thought they're fighting for the title.
No, it's not a title shot.
Oh, it's not? Oh,
No.
okay. Who has the title?
It's vacant.
Oh, okay.
On UFC.com, Khabib has the title.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Besides that, we have 2 fights, and you know all 3 of these fights are happening within 1 week of each other.
No.
January 16th is the first fight night of 2021, and that is a featherweight fight between Calvin Kattar and Max Holloway. That's a great fight. Calvin Kattar, the Boston native, versus Max Holloway, the top 4 featherweight greatest of all time.
For. Boston native.
Yeah, I know. We're going to be rooting for Calvin Kattar, but I think Max Holloway takes it. Calvin Kattar is on like a 3-fight win streak. He's looking really good. He's a striker. But Max Holloway is the biggest featherweight in that division's history. And he's one of the greatest strikers.
Yeah.
And he's tuned up everybody not named Conor McGregor in the champ of that division right now.
Yeah. I wonder if we DM these people if they respond.
Who knows?
Probably not.
So
Calvin Kattar.
Yeah, Calvin Kattar hit us up. So Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. We will get back to you next week, every Thursday night at 8 p.m. I don't know if we're doing a New Year's one yet. I have no idea.
We'll talk to them and
we'll figure it out. But tune in Thursday at 8 p.m. and we might be doing the pod. We might not, but every Thursday at 8 p.m. for 2021. I want to do 52 Thursday podcasts next year. Every single week. No, Thursday pods. And then we're going to be doing more of the fights.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I want to do every single Thursday.
I think we should have more than 1 pod a week. That's just me.
We could.
Tuesday, Thursday is great.
We talk about what's going on in the divisions on Tuesday, and then Thursdays are gear up for the fight night that's happening in 2 days.
And we could even change it to Fridays.
Some shit like
that.
But
no, it all depends. Yeah.
Well, I like the Thursday slot we have.
Thursday's awesome.
Yeah. So that's going to be coming to you live January 16th. That fight night will start right around 7 p.m. or 10 p.m., whichever it is. We might even live stream that. I'm not sure yet. I might get it off on that. I don't know. Yeah. January 20th. Wednesday. Fight night.
January 20th? That doesn't make sense.
We got the 16th. Is Holloway versus Kattar. We got the 23rd is Poirier McGregor.
Both live streaming it.
Wednesday, in between those 2 fights, is another fight night.
Really? Okay.
That fight night is Chimaev Edwards.
Should we do... Wow, we could do 4 podcasts that week.
We could. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm taking that day off of work. Now that I'm thinking about it. That Wednesday is my last day of school.
You should take that whole week off.
I could. Oh, I totally could.
You should take the whole week off. Not saying that it's a good idea. Because work's work. Take the whole week off. That's pod Saturday.
Pod Wednesday.
And we could do a pod Tuesday.
You do pod every fucking day?
Tuesday, no, we could, no. Tuesday, Wednesday. Just then Thursday, we could talk about the fights. Wednesday, talk about the fights coming up Saturday. Pod Saturday. We could do 5 pods that week.
So, we will be coming to you live.
That's going to be a crazy week.
December 31st, we're not sure. We might not. January 6th, we will be coming to you live Thursday night at 8 p.m. wherever you're watching this. Yeah. January 13th. January 14th, we will be coming to you live as our normal Thursday podcast. After that, we might do a couple podcasts. So definitely come and check that out. Got a lot in store for you in 2021. It's going to be a great year.
Well, you're done with school. So now this shit's going to be kicking off.
Right.
So we're going to actually be putting in a lot of more effort on both of our ends because,
Yeah, I feel you.
This is going to be...
It's going to be a great time,
Definitely could post some articles on UFC.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely.
I just want to say this real quick.
I can't wait until 2020 is over. Continue.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. It's been a shit year. It's been a hard year. It's been a terrible year. We've had a lot of bad things, but if I may, there's been some good things in it.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think you too. This podcast has been one of the lone bright spots of this year.
Escape. It's an escape from like all the bullshit that's going on.
We got one day a week that we can come, drink beers, hang out, talk shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and if people want to come, they can come. And if
so
they don't, they don't.
For the one person watching us live right now, special shout out to you. Thank you very much.
And if you're Ron, hello Ron.
For everybody who did tune in for the 3.5 months that we've been doing this, because we started the audio podcast MMA Complete in August, and we started the live stream in October.
Yeah.
So for everybody,
it's crazy that the first live stream was the biggest one. I think that's what's crazy.
I don't think it was,
but it was the biggest card ever.
That was the first Saturday live stream we did. We did like 2 Thursdays before that.
Yeah.
So for everybody who watched us or listened to us or shared us or liked anything on Instagram or followed SFBNRI, thank you very much. You've been a huge supporter of us, and it's only going to get better from here. In 3.5 months, you guys have helped us, I think, go above 35,000 views, which is just a start, but it's a pretty good start.
I don't think a lot of people get 35,000 views in the first 3.5 months. You know what I mean? So
I can say, and I mean, no disrespect to any of my SFBNRI fan, because I think that everybody on this network does a great job posting our podcast, but we have the most successful podcast.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it's definitely,
and I wouldn't even, and I'm not saying that in a cocky way. I'm just saying,
and it's definitely due to the influx of viewers we have during the fight nights. But
the fight nights help 100%.
The fight nights and the pay-per-views are the fucking pinnacle. You know, we have 35,000 views, and pay-per-views alone, we probably have like 28,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So thank you for everybody tuning in. Everybody who did tune in, who liked our stuff, go follow SFBNRI. Pretty soon we're going to have our own Instagram, Twitter. I'm going to set that up for 2021. MMA Complete's going to have our own social media following. Just check us out every Thursday night at 8 p.m. We'll be live streaming the fights, the big fights, and the pay-per-views. You can always tune into us. The Twitter is right there.
Right there. Zak Drapeau for now, until it says MMA Complete.
Right.
Merch coming.
And
I keep saying it, but this shit's running in my head. I'm drawing it in my head. Yeah. Merch coming.
All right, so everybody... Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Hope everybody has a great and safe holidays. I hope everybody, tries to, as unfortunate as it is, I hope everybody tries to not go too much of a crowded place for New Year's. I hope everybody stays safe and is responsible.
And if you can be with your family, fucking appreciate that shit.
If you can be with your family, you gotta enjoy every second of it. Like, because that's what really matters this year.
Like, for real. But, all right, we're going to end it on on a promo. Just for us, and then
that's one other thing we're gonna add in 2021. We're gonna be making a new promo for sure.
I hope,
because all of the fights that are in this have already happened.
I know, but yeah, and we definitely need to add a couple things like the time.
Right.
So, all right, have a good one.